This week I'm going to answer a question straight out of the mailbag. This is from Haley, and she's asking, is it worth it getting a dash cam front and rear, or just a front dash cam for surveillance? Hi, this is Larry Kaye with ShadowAnyone.com and the creator of the Investigator's Ultimate Guide series, including the Investigator's Ultimate Guide to Surveillance. This is a great question for 3 reasons. Number 1, front dash cam or front and rear dash cam. I don't think you need both. That's just my view. Frontward looking seems like it would be enough. The question then, I would say, is do you really even need or want a front-facing dash cam? As you know, I came up in the good old days and there were no dash cams. Video footage while you were doing surveillance, while you were driving, was not expected. And the idea of having something extra up, even these days, I know there's GPS and phones and all sorts of things, ride share lights, that it's not unusual, and so maybe it's perfectly fine to have a dash cam up. If that's the case, then go for it. Consider this. I think there's 2 reasons to have the dash cam up and running. One is to add credibility to your report. If there's ever any question about how the person drove or the direction they traveled, not only will they have your written report, but you have dash cam footage that will reinforce that. The other thing is just that 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 10,000 chance that something goes awry. If there's an accident, that type of thing, then you're going to have evidence that you were not at fault. If I can't even imagine this, but if the person somehow knew you were there and got out and came to your vehicle or threatened you, that would be there. So you're talking about now just these extraordinarily rare and unlikely events that you would have video of, but there's a reason to have a forward-facing dash cam. Now let's back out just a little bit, and really, here's the key part of the question that applies for this and so many other things. Is it worth it? Wow, that's the really meaty part of the question to me. How much does a dash cam cost these days? They're virtually nothing. You can get a cheap one for what, $35 maybe? Now you have to ask yourself, is having the right gear, having the gear you need, worth it? You're running a business, you're doing something to make a living. You know, if you were working a construction site, you say, well, is a hard hat worth it? Yeah. If you were working in a warehouse, are steel-toed boots worth it? Yeah. Certainly they may be required by your employer, so it's a no-brainer that you have to get them, even though who wants to spend, $100+ on steel-toed boots or whatever a hard hat costs, that type of thing. But you have to own the gear you need to do your job. Maybe a dash cam is where you want to put that $35 or $95. If you want to get something really good, might be more than that. But don't go too cheap. I'm a firm believer in don't buy a bunch of gear. I think that that's a real waste of money most of the time. Training trumps gear. It's just the way it is. You're going to need certain pieces of gear, especially for surveillance. So is it worth it? You're going to have to ask yourself that question on a lot of different things, including questions like, should I have just one more spare battery? Should I have another set of digital media to use in the camera if things go wrong? You can nickel and dime yourself to death in this business with the toys and the gear, but is it worth it? I would say almost anything that only cost you $35 is worth it in a sense. You should be making enough money doing surveillance that is an almost negligible cost. That's my take on it. If you're out there either thinking about getting into this line of work or you're a working pro, either way, if you have questions or comments, ideas, drop them in the comments. We can all learn from each other. In the meantime, this is Larry Kaye with ShadowAnyone.com. Remember, do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing.